My family threw me out after my sister falsely claimed I stole her engagement ring. 3 years later, they found it in the garbage disposal. 3 years ago, my own family, the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally, threw me out like trash. Why? Because my sister lied, accusing me of stealing something precious, and they believed every single word. And just last week, the truth finally clawed its way out from the most bizarre place imaginable, and it completely changed everything. Hey everyone, Elliot here, and believe me, I never thought I'd be telling this story. But it's a wild one, a raw one, and it starts 3 years ago when my entire world got flipped upside down. I was 26, living in a quiet little Ohio town, the kind where everyone knows everyone. My older sister, Gemma, was 29, and my parents, John and Lisa, were just, well, my parents. We lived in this modest 2-story house they'd bought when they were first married. Nothing fancy, but it was home. My dad taught math at the high school, Mom was a nurse. We weren't rich, but we always had what we needed. Gemma and I, we used to be inseparable. We'd spend hours in the backyard, climbing that ancient oak tree, making up the most elaborate games. She was always the boss, making the rules, spinning these wild plots, and I, the younger brother, was just happy to follow along. But as we got older, something shifted. Gemma, she was an overachiever, top of her class, debate team captain, brilliant at everything. Me? I was more laid back. I did okay in school, but I never had that same fire. That difference started to pull us apart. By the time she left for college on scholarship, we were practically strangers. I stayed local, went to community college, just trying to figure out what I even wanted to do with my life. After college, Gemma moved to the city, landed this big marketing job. She'd come home for holidays, full of stories about her amazing life, her incredible career. And honestly, I couldn't help but feel small and inferior. Here I was, still living at home, working part-time at the grocery store, still completely lost. Despite all that, I always thought we were fine. Not as close as we used to be, sure, but that's just growing up, right? I had no idea how quickly, how brutally, everything was about to unravel. 3 years ago, Gemma and her boyfriend, Tom, got engaged. He was a lawyer from a wealthy family, and my parents absolutely adored him. He proposed with this stunning diamond ring, a family heirloom. Gemma was over the moon, constantly showing it off. The engagement party was a huge deal. My parents invited what felt like the whole town. I remember feeling so out of place, surrounded by all these sophisticated city people Gemma and Tom knew. I just clung to my old high school friends, the ones who were still around, feeling way more comfortable with them than with Gemma's new crowd. Then, about a month later, all hell broke loose. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I had the day off, just chilling in my room, playing video games, enjoying the peace and quiet. Gemma was visiting for the week, taking time off to plan the wedding with Mom. I heard them come home, talking, laughing downstairs. I barely registered it. An hour later, though, I heard it, a piercing scream from Gemma. I flew downstairs, adrenaline surging. And that's when she hit me with it. She accused me of taking her engagement ring. She said she'd taken it off while doing dishes, left it on the counter, and when she went back, it was gone. My jaw hit the floor. I immediately denied it, of course, but she wouldn't listen. She just kept shrieking, saying I was the only other person in the house, so it had to be me. She spat out how I'd always been jealous of her, how I probably wanted to sell it just so I could finally move out and do something with my life. Then, Mom and Dad walked in, right into the middle of the chaos. Gemma, still hysterical, recounted her version of events. And to my absolute horror, they believed her. My own mother started crying, asking how I could do such a thing to my sister. My father just looked at me, a deep, crushing disappointment in his eyes. They started tearing my room apart, flipping everything upside down. They didn't find the ring, but they did find a few $100s I'd saved from my grocery store job. Gemma pounced on it, screaming that I'd obviously sold the ring, and that's where the money came from. I tried to explain, tried to tell them I'd been saving for months for some community college classes. But no one, not a single one of them, listened. The next few days were a living nightmare. They relentlessly pressed me, demanding I confess, demanding I return the ring. They threatened to call the police. I was terrified, utterly alone. My family, treated me like a criminal in my own home. I tried reaching out to friends, but most had moved away. The few who were left? They didn't want to get involved in family drama. I felt more abandoned than ever. After a week of nonstop accusations and threats, my parents made a decision that shattered my life. They told me I had to leave. They said they couldn't trust me anymore, that I was bringing shame on the family. They gave me 2 days to pack. I was devastated. I had nowhere to go. My best friend from high school, Ryan, who'd just gotten back from the army, offered his couch. But I knew I couldn't stay there forever. His apartment was tiny, and he was still getting back on his feet himself. I packed everything I could into a backpack and an old duffel bag, clothes, books, my laptop, a few treasured memories. As I walked out that door, the only home I'd ever known, I saw Gemma eyeing me from her bedroom window. For a second, I thought I saw a flicker of doubt, but then she quickly looked away. Leaving that house was the hardest thing I've ever done. I felt utterly betrayed, abandoned by the very people who were supposed to love me most. The worst part? I hadn't done a damn thing wrong. For the next 2 months, I bounced between Ryan's couch and cheap motels, taking any odd job I could find. Dishwasher, dog walker, even a few weeks on a construction site. It was brutal, but I was determined to prove my innocence, determined to make it on my own. Eventually, I landed a steady job at a warehouse on the outskirts of town. Hard work, long hours, but consistent pay. It wasn't much, but it let me rent a modest room in a shared house with some other guys from the warehouse. Slowly, painfully, I started to rebuild my life. But the wound, the grief of what had happened, it never truly healed. I'd lie awake at night, replaying every moment, wondering how it all went so wrong. How could my family turn on me so fast? How could Gemma, who'd grown up with me, who knew me better than anyone, believe I'd do something like that? I cut off all contact. They tried to reach out at first. My mom would leave these heartbreaking voicemails, begging me to come home, to make things right. My dad sent a few terse texts, saying we needed to talk. Gemma even showed up at the warehouse once, but I refused to see her. I couldn't bear to speak to them after what they'd done. As far as I was concerned, they weren't my family anymore. For 3 long years, that was my life. I made new friends at work, at home. We'd hang out, grab beers, watch games. It wasn't the life I'd envisioned, but it was mine, and I'd built it from scratch. I worked my tail off, even got promoted to shift supervisor. I started taking online classes for business management, slowly figuring out what I wanted to do. But underneath it all, there was still this raging anger, this deep hurt. I missed my old life, my family, but I couldn't forgive them. Every holiday season was a punch to the gut. Seeing family shopping, hearing Christmas music, it just amplified the ache for what I'd lost. Then, last week, an unexpected email from my father. The subject line just said, "We need to talk." It was brief, saying they needed to meet me immediately, that it was about the ring incident. At first, I almost deleted it, just like all their other attempts. But something made me pause. Curiosity, maybe. Or a tiny, desperate part of me still craved closure. After hours of wrestling with myself, I decided to hear them out. I called my father. What he said next left me utterly stunned. The ring. It had been found. Gemma, somehow, had accidentally knocked it into the garbage disposal while doing dishes. She only realized this a few days ago when the disposal started making weird noises, and they had to call a plumber to look at it. My dad said Gemma was devastated when she finally understood what had happened, that I'd been telling the truth all along. He said they all felt terrible, that they wanted to make things right. I hung up the phone, a whirlwind of emotions tearing through me. On one hand, sweet vindication. I'd always told the truth, and now everyone knew it. But then, the anger. Oh, the anger. It took 3 years for them to find out the truth. 3 years I'd lost. 3 years I'd fought alone, when I'd done nothing wrong. Now, I'm at a crossroads. My family wants me to come home. They say they want to make amends. Gemma has been calling and messaging nonstop, begging for forgiveness. But I'm not sure I can give it. They cast me out without a second thought, chose to believe the worst, and left me to fend for myself for 3 whole years. Part of me wants to tell them all to go to hell, let them wallow in the shame of what they did. But another part of me, a small, aching part, misses my old life and wonders if there's any way to rebuild what we lost. I truly don't know what to do. Should I give them a chance to make amends? Or do I just keep building this life I've carved out for myself, without them? I'm completely torn. Update 1 asterisk. It's been a week since I shared my story, and so much has happened. First off, Thank you all for your incredible advice and support. It honestly helped me sort through the mess in my head. After a lot of agonizing back and forth, I decided to meet with my family. I felt like I owed it to myself, if only to find some closure, even if reconciliation wasn't on the table. We chose a neutral spot, a quiet coffee shop in the next town over. Far enough from home that we wouldn't run into anyone we knew, but close enough for everyone to get there. The day of the meeting, I was a wreck. 3 years. 3 years since I'd seen them. I got there early, found a corner table where we could have some privacy. When they walked in, it felt like a physical blow. My mother burst into tears the moment she saw me. She looked older, more gray, more lines around her eyes. My father seemed weary, his shoulders slumped like he was carrying the world. Gemma couldn't meet my gaze at first. She looked smaller, less confident than the sister I remembered. We sat down, and for a long moment, no one spoke. Then, it all came flooding out. Apologies, a torrent of them. My parents admitted they'd failed me, failed as parents, for not trusting me and kicking me out. They said they'd regretted it every single day since, but pride and humiliation had kept them from reaching out sooner. My dad, usually a man of few words, spoke for what felt like hours. He replayed those days over and over in his head. He said, wondering how he could have been so blind. He'd always prided himself on being fair, reasonable, but emotion had completely clouded his judgment. My mom, through her tears, told me she'd kept my room exactly as I'd left it, always hoping I'd come back. She'd wake up in the middle of the night, thinking she'd heard me come home, only to remember the crushing truth. Gemma, she was beside herself. She cried that she'd never forgive herself for accusing me, for destroying our relationship. She said she'd always looked up to me when we were kids, even though I was younger. She admitted she'd been so wrapped up in her own life, her own problems, that she'd completely lost sight of what really mattered. As they spoke, all these childhood memories came rushing back. Gemma sticking up for me when I was bullied in middle school. All the times we'd laughed, shared secrets, supported each other. It made the betrayal hurt even more, but it also reminded me of the good times, the real times we'd had. I listened to everything they said, but I just couldn't bring myself to forgive them. Not yet. The pain, the raw resentment from the last 3 years, it was still too much. I told them I needed time to process everything. They seemed to understand and didn't push. My mom wanted to hug me before they left, but I gently stepped away. I just wasn't ready for that kind of closeness. Her hurt expression almost broke me, but I held firm. I had to protect myself, emotionally. After the meeting, I went back to my apartment and just thought, what did I want? Could I really go back to my old life? Could I ever trust them again? Was it even worth trying to fix things? I realized something important. While I missed having a family, I'd also grown so much these past 3 years. I was self-sufficient now, strong. I'd built a life from nothing. I wasn't the same person they'd kicked out. I thought about my warehouse job, my online classes, the friends I'd made. I'd worked so hard to get where I was, and I was proud of what I'd accomplished on my own. The thought of abandoning all that, of just going back to how things were, it felt wrong. At the same time, I couldn't deny that seeing them had stirred up so many feelings. Despite everything, I still loved them, missed them. I wondered if I could have a relationship with them, but still keep my independence. After a few days, I made a decision. I called my parents. I explained that I appreciated their apologies, but I wasn't ready to fully reconcile. I told them I needed more time and space to heal. I also set some clear boundaries. I was willing to have minimal contact, but I wasn't moving back home, and I wasn't going to pretend nothing had happened. If we were going to have a relationship, it had to be on my terms. They expressed disappointment, but said they understood. They promised to respect my boundaries and give me the time I needed. My mom asked if she could call once a week, just to check in, and I agreed. It felt like a small step towards rebuilding trust. As for Gemma, I've decided to keep my distance for now. Her actions had hurt me the most, and I just wasn't ready to forgive her. I told her I needed more time before I could even consider a relationship with her. She was upset, but said she understood and would wait until I was ready. It's been a tough week, full of emotional highs and lows. There are moments when I question my decision, wondering if I'm being too harsh, or if I'm missing an opportunity to reunite with my family. But then I remember how quickly they turned on me, and I know I'm doing the right thing by taking it slow. I've also started looking into therapy, as many of you suggested. I think having a professional to talk to while I navigate this impossible situation would be incredibly helpful. I've never been to therapy, so I'm a little nervous, but I think it's what I need. For now, my main focus is on my job and my studies. I've got a huge project coming up at work, and I'm determined not to let all this family drama derail my goals. I'm also starting to think about getting a better apartment. I've been saving, and I think I'm ready for a place of my own, no roommates. Thanks again for all your support. It's comforting to know there are people out there who understand, even if we've never met. I'll update you if anything big changes. Update 2 asterisk. It's been almost a month since my last update, and I wanted to share some new developments. I've been sticking to the boundaries I set with my family. We've had a few phone calls and text messages, nothing too intense. It's been okay. Awkward, definitely, but not as painful as I expected. My parents have mostly respected my wishes. They check in now and then, but they don't demand more than I'm prepared to give. I can tell they're really trying to rebuild trust, but it's a slow process. My mother calls once a week, just like we agreed. Those calls were pretty strained at first, lots of long silences. But they're getting easier. We usually talk about neutral things, her work at the hospital, the weather, my online classes. It's not much, but it's a start. My father has been sending me short emails, usually just checking in or sharing an article he thinks I might find interesting. Last week, he sent me a link to a story about a new business opening in our hometown. It was a small gesture, but it reminded me of how he used to clip newspaper articles for me when I was a kid. Gemma, though, she struggled with the barrier I've put between us. She sent me so many long, emotional texts, apologizing again and again, pleading for a chance to make things right. I've responded simply, saying I still need more time. It's hard, really hard, but I'm holding firm. I know she's hurting, but I'm just not ready to deal with her feelings on top of my own right now. The biggest news? I actually started therapy. I found a counselor who specializes in family trauma, and we've had a few sessions already. It's been incredibly difficult, digging up all that pain from the past, but I truly think it's helping. My therapist is helping me work through my anger and my trust issues, and she's giving me strategies for setting healthy boundaries. In our last session, we talked about how the ring incident wasn't just about the accusation. It was about years of feeling like I never measured up to Gemma's accomplishments. It's made me realize there were cracks in our family dynamic long before the ring, and that healing will mean addressing those deeper issues too. One unexpected positive outcome of all this is that I've grown even closer to my friends, especially Ryan. They've been incredibly supportive through this entire ordeal. Ryan even offered to come with me to any future family meetings, just for moral support. It's really taught me that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up for you when things get rough. Work has been a welcome distraction. I've poured myself into my career and even got a modest promotion. I'm now in charge of inventory management for my shift, which means more responsibility and a bit of a pay bump. It's nice to have something positive to focus on. As for my living situation, I've decided to stay where I am for the time being. It's not much, but it's mine, and it symbolizes the independence I've worked so hard for. My parents offered to help me find a better place, but I declined. I need to do this on my own. However, I have started seriously looking into options for furthering my education. There's a state university about an hour away that offers night classes, and I'm considering applying to their business program. It would be a huge step, but I think I'm ready for it. Overall, I'm taking it one day at a time. Some days are harder than others. There are moments when I mourn the easy connection we once had as a family. But then I remember how quickly they turned on me, and I realize I can't rush this process. My therapist says it's okay to have mixed feelings about all of this. She encourages me to be patient with myself and not feel pressured to forgive before I'm truly ready. We're working on strategies for dealing with upcoming family gatherings and holidays, which, I admit, are making me more apprehensive than I'd like. For now, my priorities are healing and building a life I can be proud of, with or without my family. It's not easy, but I'm actually feeling pretty positive about the future. I'm learning that it's absolutely all right to put myself first, and that setting boundaries doesn't make me a horrible person. Thank you all for your continuing support. Your comments and messages have given me so much strength during this journey. It's comforting to know I'm not alone in dealing with complex family issues like these. Update 3. The final chapter. It's been 6 months since my original post, and I figured it was time for a final update. A lot has changed in the last few months. The biggest news? I've decided to relocate for a new job opportunity. This is a massive step forward in my career, and I'm genuinely excited about the new possibilities. The job is with a logistics company, similar to what I was doing at the warehouse, but on a much larger scale. It's a management role, something I've been working towards for a while. The pay is significantly higher, and it comes with benefits like health insurance and a 401k. Before making this decision, I had a long, deep conversation with my therapist. We talked about how this move would impact my healing process and my relationship with my family. Ultimately, we agreed that this could be incredibly good for me, an opportunity to truly stand on my own 2 feet, to define myself outside of all that family drama. I told my parents about the move last week. They were shocked and honestly pretty disappointed, but they understood. My mother cried a little, saying she'd hoped we'd have more time to mend things before I left. My father was more stoic, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes too. They were both worried about me being alone in a new city, but I assured them I'd be okay. Gemma took it the hardest. After I told her, she showed up at my apartment unannounced, begging me not to go. She admitted she felt like she was losing me all over again. It was a challenging conversation, but I held my ground. I told her this was something I needed to do for myself, and that our relationship wasn't in a place where her opinion could influence such a big decision for my future. Our relationship, as a family, is improving, but it's far from perfect. We've had several family dinners over the past few months. They've been awkward, uncomfortable at times, but we are gradually learning how to be around each other again. Trust is still a major issue for me. I still question their motives sometimes, wondering if they truly believe what they're saying or if they're just trying to ease their own guilt. My therapist has been absolutely crucial through all of this. She's helped me analyze my emotions and build those essential boundaries. She emphasized that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or pretending the trauma never happened. It's about letting go of my anger so I can find peace of mind. I've really taken that to heart. While I don't think I'll ever forget what happened, I'm actively trying to forgive my family, not for their sake, but for mine. Carrying around all that anger and bitterness was just too heavy, and I'm ready to set it down. As I prepare for this relocation, I've been reflecting on everything that's transpired. 3 years ago, I honestly thought my life was over. I'd lost everything, including everyone I cared about. But now, I see how much I've learned from that experience. I'm stronger, far more independent, and I have a much clearer understanding of my own worth than I ever did before. I don't know what the future holds for me and my family. We intend to stay in touch once I relocate, with weekly phone calls and visits during the holidays. It's a start. Perhaps with time and distance, we'll be able to create something new. But for now, my attention is firmly focused on the future. I'm so excited about my new job, the new city, and all the opportunities that await me. I've already started looking for apartments online and researching the area where I'll be living. It's a mix of excitement and trepidation, but overwhelmingly, I'm looking forward to this next chapter in my life. Whatever happens with my family, I'm confident I'll be okay. I've shown myself that I can deal with whatever life throws at me. And I've learned the invaluable lesson of surrounding myself with people who believe in me and support me, whether they're related by blood or not. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all your support through this incredibly personal journey.